Causeway Kings is a podcast on the Black and Gold Podcast Network in partnership with BlackNGold Productions LLC. Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Causeway Kings. For the first time ever, coming to you live from Brewery 44, 2 Montello Street in Carver, Massachusetts. I want to say thank you, first of all, to Merrill for putting this all together for us, and also to the owner, Mike Johnson, as well as the co-owner, Jameson Wright. They are the purveyors of this fine establishment, and we appreciate them letting us kind of take over for a minute. Merrill, I want to welcome you to the show first and foremost, buddy. You're the one that put us here, so thanks very much for that. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here. Like I said, appreciate Brewery 44 letting us, kind of take this over. And, it's just exciting to be here talking hockey. We got some people in the audience here. So I brought a couple of my friends. They're currently belly up to the bar. So
as they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Saturday night. I guess that makes it all right, as Prince would say. So let's rock and roll.
That's right.
He really just referenced Prince.
And in that regard, welcome Causeway Clancy to the mix. How are you, buddy?
Gentlemen, this is fantastic to be doing this tonight down here at Brewery 44 with the Causeway crew. We got some fans out there. I'm looking forward. We got a lot to talk about. It's been a pretty busy week, as BCon knows, with football ending and high school hockey tryouts going on. Spent about 4 hours a day on the ice last 6 days a week, so the feet are barking.
Ooh.
But I'm bellied up to a table here with a nice cold beer, so let's get at it.
There it is. And, of course, joining us here, BCon, fresh off the MIAA Super Bowl finale. I'm surprised you're even still conscious, buddy.
Yeah, it was kind of a marathon, but I'm glad to be back talking about hockey with you guys on this fun show.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be covering a little bit of that football talk coming up in a little bit. But, guys, we made a promise to another one of our Causeway King brethren, and we shall now honor that. BJ couldn't be here with us tonight, but we are going to open up this show with a prost to our brother. May you feel better soon, and get the heck on up out of those Johnnies, brother. They do not fit your figure. Let's get you back. Here's to BJ of the Causeway Kings.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Salud.
Salud.
How do you know what his figure looks like, Ben?
I have no idea. I'm assuming.
He's seen the silhouette.
The silhouettes. There it is. Well, that was for you, buddy. Hope you feel better. Now let's get right down to business. We are here live on scene at Brewery 44. Bruins game coming up tonight. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning ahead of us. Guys, where do we even start tonight? Merrill, since you're the one that put us here, the floor is yours to begin.
Well, starting talking about this game against Tampa Bay, obviously long history with this team, division rival. Looking at the line combinations before we jumped on, I noticed Charlie McAvoy was not on the ice at the morning skate. He's dealing with a illness not related to COVID. The Boston Bruins were able to, I'm not sure how many COVID negatives they had to get, but Jack Ashan and Oscar Steen are actually up with the big club right now, so they're extra bodies if needed. I know Clifton's going to draw in the lineup anyways because Zaboral got injured, looked like a serious injury, which is such a shame. And I like to see the boys, pull it out tonight. They're coming off Swayman had a great game against Nashville. They had a shutout. It was definitely 100 degrees different than the game against Detroit, where it was as flat as a rail. They came out, they were buzzing. Bergeron was into it. They had something going on with Philip Forsberg. And, I just want to see him come out, and I think it's really important they get the first goal tonight. I think that's going to be big, get the crowd into it. And let's see if they can steal one before Marchand comes back. If they can get four points with Marchand on the shelf, I think that would be huge. I think that sets them up nicely because it's going to be a battle getting in the playoffs here coming up.
No, absolutely, Merrill. You hit every nail on the head perfectly. The Detroit game, it's like they didn't want to be there. But then you fast forward to the Nashville game, and they took it to them. That was a hard-fought game. Nashville was definitely they were doing what they could to get Bergeron off his game. I know Forsberg threw I call it a late hit on Bergeron during the game.
It's like a flying headbutt almost.
Yeah, and if you saw that when Bergeron was on the bench, his nose was cut. He was bleeding from his nose on the side. But, they took it to him. It was nice to see Carlo get on the board with a nice goal from the point. But I thought that was probably their best complete game all season long in my eyes.
Absolutely. And DeBrusque got on the board, too. You know, I really think, honestly, though, the big difference I noticed in Beacon, I mean, you could speak to this, like, even on the first goal with DeBrusque, not only did he use the goalie, use the defenseman as a screen, but they had a net drive. They got people and pucks to the net. And everything against Detroit was from the perimeter. And that makes such a huge difference. Like, it's not even about the shots. It's about where the shots are taken and if there's traffic in front. Like, most of the goals are scored inside those hash marks anyway, but I just thought they came out buzzing. I mean, and it was such a 180-degree difference from Detroit.
Well, yeah, and, it was a good sign from DeBrusque. I think we were texting and saying, like, maybe this will spark him. Maybe he'll get emotion, like, he'll turn his emotion into a form of hate, just something that'll motivate him to start finding the net a little bit more. And we saw that it possibly start against Detroit. We'll see if that continues tonight, however.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, like, I'm trying to spin it into a positive here. With Marchand going down for 3 games, which we can get into, we got a lot to talk about on and off the ice, but I thought it was total, bull that he got suspended. But looking at it, like, this is an opportunity. If this team is going to make a run, they need to have more than the perfection line going. And if Hall plays better with Pasta and Berge, maybe having Marchand with Coyle and Smith, maybe Marchand, who's such an amazing player, I feel like he could pick guys up and he could facilitate a little more on that second line, because they've got to figure out a way to get more than one line going consistently, because we saw when they won in 2011, I know it was 10 years ago, but they had all 4 lines going. All 4 lines were a threat.
No, absolutely. It would be weird seeing Marchand on a different line other than with Pasta and Bergeron, but like you said, that could maybe spark something. I mean, I thought Hall, being with Bergeron and Pasta right now, I think Hall, to me, has seemed a little more engaged in the play. He seems a lot more noticeable when I watch the games. I'm still looking for him to get have that game where he's got 2-3 points a night, and really you see his confidence built up and start to take off and be the player that he was a few years ago when he won the MVP in New Jersey. But on DeBrusque real quick, I mean, dude, that goal was a legit snipe. And
he's got ability.
He looked so much more relaxed than he usually does, and I don't know if that was because Cassidy wasn't there.
I think it's something. I think it's just a weight lifted off his shoulders. Like, I actually thought that maybe with Cassidy not there, DeBrusque would actually play better. But I just feel like now he's like, listen, I'm just going to play my game. I just felt like it just didn't work with Cassidy for whatever reason. Like, there's always been, like, throughout the history of the Bruins and other sports, but there's always that whipping boy that the coach is always riding the certain guy. And I just feel like, DeBrusque, he was overdrafted to begin with. He shouldn't have been drafted as high as he was. The expectation, he scored a lot of playoff goals too. Everyone talks about the 27-goal season, but he also has 16 playoff goals. And he was money against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs. And I just felt like the line of demarcation came when he got clocked in the head by Kadri. He was never quite the same player.
Almost afraid to get hit again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And maybe it was a little case of, I mean, he's not like Matt Barnes. He's skilled, but he's not dynamic. Maybe it was also a little case of maybe the player thinking he was a little better than he was. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's like, oh, I'm a top 6. Maybe I'm on some teams I'm a first line left wing or winger, and maybe he started to believe it, and he stopped doing the things that made him so dynamic in the playoffs. Like, I always remember that goal where he did that pull and drag as he had a guy on his back against Toronto as he's falling to the ice, and he sniped it by Frederik Andersen. I'm like, that is an amazing goal, and we just haven't seen that from him. He's got if he skates and he moves his feet, he's a legit threat. But when he just kind of hangs out and he doesn't engage with his skating, kind of like Taylor Hall, to be honest with you, he's not the same player.
It's very true. Noticeable differences. Beacon, your opinion on Jake DeBrusque?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he was able to get on the board finally. I was thinking just a couple of days ago, how can this guy, after the last few seasons, demand a trade? He hasn't been producing for you. He's struggled. I think he had 14 points combined last year, which is wild.
Seasonal.
You should have probably found a way to take advantage of that 27-goal season and sold high on him at that point. However, if he's able to turn it around and he kind of morphs back into that player, then the Bruins are good looking for it. The problem is I just don't think he can find it himself in the moment.
Yeah, and this is a two-pronged thing.
It's a mental thing, I think.
It's a mental thing, but also on the Bruins' end, it seems to be a continuous theme with their player development. Being a good GM or a great GM is being able to identify the players in your system that are not going to be a part that you need to sell on, and players that are going to be a part of your core. And I feel like there was a line in the sand there a couple years ago where they had a chance to trade him because it was going south, and they failed to do so. And I just feel like they hang on to guys for too long, and they end up getting nothing for them. It's going to be real interesting to see what they can get for him.
I'm hearing like there's 7 or 8 teams that are interested.
Yeah.
That want him, but again, that's the question: is what are you going to get for him? I mean,
I've heard
6th round pick.
If that,
I've heard Dylan Strome to. I mean, see, the thing is that the Bruins organization is
cheap.
Well, that too, but their organization, their development system is so barren. Like, even Vladimir Tarasenko, who I'd love for them to get, he wanted out, but the Bruins don't have the ammo to trade for him.
No.
They don't. They don't have the system to be able to, if Jack Stadnyka was what everybody thought he would be, maybe you throw Jack Stadnyka with Jake DeBrusk and a pick, and boom, you get Vladimir Tarasenko.
I think to get Tarasenko, you'd have to get rid of DeBrusk, Stadnyka, Senyshyn, and maybe like a Grizzlick or something.
Yeah, but Senyshyn is
pretty steep price. If you
I know he had back-to-back hat-tricks in Providence, but come on.
I agree, but at the same time, you want to bring in a world-class scorer like Tarasenko, you got to give up. You got to take a risk.
You got to give up pieces.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. No, I agree with you. My thing is that what the Blues are probably looking at their system and like your system is garbage.
Well, Providence is well depleted almost at this point. I mean, what do we have after the next wave coming up? Not a whole heck of a lot.
That's the problem. The farm system isn't stocked very well at the moment. They had a chance during that 2015 draft, and they completely whiffed. And this is a Bruins team that I think makes the right decisions in most cases. But when it comes to drafting, they've struggled recently. They've had a good track record of keeping good players on the roster. That's their good strength. That's their strength.
As good as they've been on that, they've been pathetic drafting. But go ahead, Clancy.
One of the best teams that has, in my eyes right now, that has one of the best farm systems is the Anaheim Ducks.
No doubt.
They are stacked in their minor league system right now. And they're, in my eyes, one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. So if you're looking to get players that could, step in and play in DeBrusk's spot and, just don't have the room to fill in their lineup right now in Anaheim, I'd be talking with them.
And they have a history of doing deals with them.
Yes.
So that's a great point by Clance. And I looked up the Bruins, where they rank from the HockeyWriters.com, where their system ranks in relation to other teams. They are 26th out of 32 teams. And
that's pathetic.
It's not that good.
No, it's not good. And my joke, I said it on the text group we had going. I said, the Providence Bruins got shut down because of COVID. They've been shut down for 5 years. They've been able to get players from Providence.
Wow. Merrill with a hot take.
Zing. Ouch.
But
hot take.
Take a sip of that beer, buddy.
You want to find some more information properly about the Providence and Baby Bees, you can find it at BlackNGoldHockey.com. We have a whole team of skilled writers that do exactly that. And I don't know, Merrill, that's a pretty hot take right there.
Well, here's the other thing I'll follow up with.
It's coming from the visor.
It's got to be the visor.
It's got to be. It's like the Nike commercial with Spike Lee. It's got to be the shoes. It's got to be the visor. So I sent you the screenshot of the Bruins haven't had a player past the 2017 draft play in the NHL, play a single game. I sent you that screenshot.
You did. Unacceptable.
I'm not. Believe me, I'm a Bruins fan. I want to see the Bruins do well. I love the Bruins, but I mean, reality is reality. And
I mean, the last few years I've gone to these developmental camps. There's been buzz for a couple of guys, most notably Axel Anderson, Curtis Lazar, Ben Myers, some of these guys.
Yeah.
None of them have been able to make the leap, take that next step. They just haven't been able to.
I think Axel Anderson went back to I think he went back to Sweden.
I forgot all about him. What happened?
Actually, Axel Anderson, did he? Oh, no, I'm thinking I'm sorry. He might have been in the deal with he might have been in the trade at Anaheim.
You're right. Yeah, with
But also,
Heinen out there. Yeah,
I mean,
right.
look.
Linus Arneson is the guy I was thinking of. He went back to Sweden. This is a different guy.
Yeah.
The other Linus.
Yeah.
I mean, now you got to look at. Do you think there's a chance that if they can't get anything for DeBrusque, they put him on waivers and they try to bring over Fabian Lascelles back from juniors?
I would be apt to see him in it. It seems like he's got that energy.
From what I've heard, he's been ripping it up in juniors too.
Uh-oh. Beacon, you got to take.
Well, actually, it's some breaking news. Unfortunate news for Bees fans.
Oh, no.
Announcement: Charlie McAvoy will not play in tonight's game due to a
Holy
non-COVID-related illness.
Shit.
Well, at least it's not COVID.
I got to get him out of my starting lineup of my fantasy team.
So that means Jack Ashan is going to be a defense. So they're going to have Jack Ashan and Connor Clifton as part of the top 6, I guess, right? Because you're without Zaboral, you're without McAvoy. So
And they also called somebody else up.
Oscar Steen.
Yes, that's
Well, I honestly, when he's been up before, I thought he's been good.
Yeah, he
He's
has been
very
good.
noticeable out there.
Yeah, I know you're right about Lysell though. Getting back to him, 23 points in 19 games.
For his first time playing, in a junior
North
league
America.
in North America, you know.
Absolutely, and
Steen has 6 goals and 7 assists so far down at Providence this year.
Not bad. Not bad for the kid.
That's promising. I mean, I know I've ragged on the Providence Bruins, but here's the thing. Like, I would rather see them instead of releasing or waiving Jake DeBrusque, which I think would be a disaster, because even like Beersy said today, he's like, I guarantee you he's going to go to another team and light it up, a la Riley Smith. Trade him for a guy, who needs a change of scenery guy, whether it's Dylan Strome from Chicago or, Brock Besser. Just I would at least have something coming back that maybe you can work and develop with than just letting him go for nothing. I understand what you're saying. I would love to see them bring up Lysell at some point, but
you got to see, if they trade him, for someone, you got to see what kind of are you going to keep part of his salary, give the whole salary away with him, and then whatever you get in return, you got to see what their salary is, because I'm sure everyone has seen that there are a lot of rumbles and rumors of Tuukka coming back.
Oh, I was about to bring this point up.
So they have to figure. I mean, and I know Tuukka's come out and said it's not about the money. I just want to be a Bruin. You still got to find some type of. I think they got $700,000 available in cap space right now.
Yeah.
So along those lines, let me pose a hypothetical, because I think it's very possible that could happen. Tuukka's like, I want to come back. I only want to play for the Bruins. I love the Bruins, blah, blah, blah. So
I think it's a fait accompli at this point that he's coming back.
So here's the thing. Here's my I'm just going to pose it to you. So Swayman's playing great. Clearly the number one. You've got Linus Ullmark signed to that long-term deal. What are you going to do?
Well, I think Swayman has had like 1 to 2 good games after going through a rough stretch. So Don Sweeney, during his press conference earlier this week, said if Tuukka Rask is healthy and wants to be a part of the group, he's coming back.
That's
incredible. So essentially, that's basically a fait accompli, saying he's going to be back here. So he's been working out at the facility every day, like 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. before the team gets there.
With the Bruins goalie coach.
Yeah.
I just think if Swayman gets on a heater, though, and if he's playing well, if he's like 8-0-2 in his last 10, then let me ask you, what do you do with Ullmark, though?
Well,
do you try to trade him?
What a disaster
in that regard, though, it's already a done deal. And Mark Allred, by the way, happy birthday to Mark Allred, the CEO here at Black and Gold Hockey. He mentioned this on Twitter a little bit earlier today. He said just the way that the contracts are set up, it's already a done deal. Ullmark obviously being paid, $4.5 million, whatever it is,
a year.
on a one-way deal. Unfortunately for Swayman, he is on a very cap-friendly two-way entry deal right now. So that would indeed leave him the odd man out, despite being the young man that we're all looking to see in net right now.
But what if he's the best goalie?
Can you trade Ullmark, though? Because I'm going to get who.
But you don't typically trade someone that you just signed. It's kind
Okay,
of that unwritten rule.
but then you
there.
look at Ottawa, who waived a goalie that they signed 2 years ago.
Waived him, but it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, but he's also on a longer-term deal and making
Still
more
got
money.
2 more years. Yeah, this would be 4 years,
While,
right?
while I agree, absolute
That's what I was
insanity.
looking up. I was trying to find out if it was 5 years, 27, or 4 years.
No,
20,
Allmark's deal
whatever
was
it
was.
I thought it was 5 years, 27 million or something.
No,
like
it
that.
was 5 years.
4 million,
20,
or 20
million.
Yeah.
5
Just
years, 20
20.
million.
It was either
Okay.
5 and 4 or 4 and 5.
Yeah, it's either 5 and 4 or 4 and 5. But either way, I mean, the only way you can really see if Allmark is going to pan out is if you give him like a 10-game stretch and say, hey, listen, these next 10 games, no matter who the opponent is, you're the go-to guy. If you can't hack it, then we got to figure out a situation, and then that we're giving the reins to Swayman.
I'd say this. I'd say give
Cut 'em all.
That's what it was.
I'd say give Allmark, let Allmark get on a roll, and then trade him, and then have Rask and Swayman. There
Get
you
his
go.
stack ranking.
Yeah,
back
right.
up
Get
there.
him up and get. I mean, honestly, that was a huge mistake.
Hey, he
in
can go back to
retrospect.
Buffalo and be Malcolm Subban's backup.
And here's the other. And here's the other thing. Like, I don't know if you have any info on this Beacon or any scuttlebutt, but just looking at it now, like the way they left it with Rask, they're like, oh, we still want him as part of the team, all this stuff, and then the market, the goalie market. You look at it. Would you, like, if you're a goalie on the free agent market and you've heard like they're already talking to Tuukka Rask? Like, why would you, like, any of these guys, whether it's Holtby, Rittich, go right down the line, Freddie Anderson, why would you want to sign with the Bruins when they're already talking about bringing Tuukka back? And my feeling is that maybe they had to overpay to get Allmark because they knew Tuukka was going to be sitting right there waiting to come back when they should have just took a wait-and-see approach. If you're going to commit that to Allmark, that's starting goalie money. You got it. You either say he's our goalie, or you either keep Vladar or you bring in another guy.
Well, that's where I think they screwed up. I think they should have kept Vladar. They decided to bring in Allmark because he was an established guy, looked pretty decent for the most part in Buffalo compared to whatever other swag they had going in there.
They all figured the same thing. He's
Yeah.
playing for a garbage team. Take him out of there. He'll probably start playing good,
Exactly.
right?
You put him in a good team.
But
he'll
paying
probably
that much money?
Yeah, that's where
That
I think
was
the
an
mistake was.
oversight.
And that was the only issue. And I don't think goaltender was their biggest need.
What did Grubauer get? I mean, like, what?
Grubauer got a big deal.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's probably. What did he get? $7 million? I mean, that's only
I
a few
think so.
more million.
And I
That's only.
shouldn't say they screwed up. I think they were trying to do the right thing and probably move on from Rask and put another established guy behind Swayman and possibly turn it to him in the future, but kind of doing it slowly. What happened was it backfired. Allmark has not delivered. He has not been consistent. Swayman has had shaky starts and some great starts, and now Tuukka's waiting, and he's just hanging over their shoulders. I think it's a bad situation.
And it's
in
a bad situation when you need another center and you need a left shot D. And I felt like they could have allocated that money better. Again, the Ryan Suter hill I will always die on and say that was the guy they should have got as a left shot D.
I agree. We all were sitting here waiting for it, saying Ryan Suter is going to be a Boston Bruin. It's going to be unreal. And then, bloop, nope, he went elsewhere.
And
so what are you going to do? How
if
do you replace that?
If you guys just are on Twitter, Swayman's getting the start tonight.
oh,
I would assume after 42 saves
A
the other
shutout?
night.
Yeah, 42
why not
save shutout
ride the
against-
hot goalie? That's how you win in
Absolutely.
hockey.
Exactly. So
Ride him, baby.
So that's the thing now. It's like if Swayman continues to play this way and he keeps shutting teams out and having 40-plus saves a game, do you say, okay, Sway, we're going to give you a little bit of a break. We're going to let Allmark take the next 10 games to give, hey, Allmark, here's your final tryout. You have to prove yourself that you're worth the money we just gave you. If not, we got to figure something out.
They screwed the pooch on this.
Because if you think of it, Rask is like 6.5, 7 weeks away from being back to playing in games.
Yeah.
which is crazy to think about that
Exactly.
way. But it is what it is.
Because back when he had the hip surgery, everyone's like, oh, it's going to be January, maybe February, he's back playing game. Well, it's already December 4th.
Right around the corner.
You
Yeah,
know?
Yep.
I mean, honestly, if I'm Don Sweeney, I'm looking at it saying I got to not only trade Jake DeBrusk, but I got to trade Linus Allmark.
And
You
I got to
call-
look for a new job.
You can't do that with that contract. You think any team's going to take that contract with how he's been playing to start the year?
Arizona will.
Get him.
Yeah.
They always do.
Get him playing better and call Edmonton.
They'll trade him to the soon-to-be Quebec Nordiques.
If he catches fire, you think a team will take him on right now with that contract? I think he can. He's capable of having a good game here and there. Is he worth the contract?
I mean, you just
I think he's worth 3.5 a year.
see
Not
between
5.
this.
See, that's where I would put him. A middle of the road guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not worth the money, obviously.
Not a terrible guy, but he's
You got to look at his track record compared to someone like Rask's track record at the money situation.
See,
Rask
I was
making
one
what?
of the Tuukka Rask haters over the last few years, and
I
now
was too.
I find myself saying maybe they should bring him back.
No, I agree. I think Tuukka. I mean,
he'll get you to the playoffs. He just won't win you the big one.
exactly.
Right. So maybe that's the plan.
He's
Tuukka, get in here and get us there, and
The
then Omar,
Dan
get in there.
Marino
No,
of
Swayman.
the NHL. That's
Okay,
what
Swayman.
Tuukka
Wow.
Rask is.
What a comparison.
the
The
Dan Marino
of the NHL.
Dan Marino, all these
Wow.
records. Tuukka Rask, I believe, has the best save percentage in NHL history.
Hey, is it me? Does Merrill look like an NFL coach right now with his visor on?
He does.
Brian
I love it.
Kelly over here, huh? He's already got the Southern accent.
I
Not that
feel
we're
like
talking about
he
football, but
needs like a
Hiffa,
fake
hiffa.
mullet coming out of the back of it.
Chip Kelly.
That was crazy. Did you hear the Lincoln Riley story before we get completely off track here with college football? See that contract he's got from USC?
Yeah, with the private plane, which actually is I don't know. That's got to be from a
It's
booster.
USC booster plane, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, it can't be.
They
can't-
bought out his mansions in Norman so he could get $1 million signing bonus.
They have rolling blackouts in Florida, but they have a private plane for the USC. Obviously, that's from a booster, but it's just funny how it's a public university, but they have access to a private plane. But
Unreal.
wanted to bring this up. We got so much to talk about, but the Marchand suspension, total BS to me.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it was just because of the track record. You see, if he's been suspended before, even though he's calmed down for the most part over the last few years, he's really settled things down. He's found ways to improve himself as a player and be clean. This time, it was just barely enough. I think this is a type of instance where the usual punishment would be at the max 1 game. I think the NHL just went hard on him.
I think they're honestly, it's going to sound funny, but they're penalizing for past performance.
That's exactly what it is.
Like, I mean, in they say, well, we're only penalizing him because he had a slew for previously, but no, they're probably looking at, they can't stand him. The solo clipping, the flying elbow to Marcus Johansson, the ball shot to Jake Dawkin, like.
Only one?
The list goes on and on. Like, yeah, the licking of Leo
Callahan.
Komarov and Callahan.
That will never be forgotten.
Like, I mean, come on.
I had
So-
forgotten about that. Now I
But-
remember.
But if you're gonna adjudicate correctly, you have to. Like, honestly, when I saw it real time, I'm like, oh, that's a great hit. And then because then NESN showed it as like the montage
As
of
they
like
always
hits.
do.
So then I'm like, oh, maybe that should have been a penalty. I didn't think it would be a suspension, let alone 3 games.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here?
We're suspending stars. That's what we're doing. Clancy.
And he was pretty vocal in his press conference about the suspension, as well as about his comments to Panarin. And he was honest in his press conference. What he said, they asked him, what did you say to make him throw his glove at? He said, I told him no one in Russia liked him.
That's what I love about Marchand and Bruce Cassidy. They will tell you everything.
Which, again, Marchand said, I told him no one in Russia likes him, and if that's going to get me in trouble in the league, then this is the softest league out there.
Which is wild.
Which
He
is
said
awesome
that.
to say, but at the same time, it's true. I mean, no one in Russia does like him.
It's true. I mean, that's kind of why he took some time off. And all
Yeah,
that.
right?
And,
What,
I mean,
what do I know?
Tom
I'm just a
Wilson
guy.
doesn't like him.
I'm
but I
just
mean,
a-
at the same time, like, he's suspended for 3 games, which is, in my eyes, complete BS, because it's really the first time in a few years that he's done anything remotely questionable.
Oh yeah, he's really cleaned it up.
He even said that. He goes, I've spent years cleaning up my game. He goes, I will admit I was a rat. I did stupid stuff. He's like, he has turned himself into an elite player in the league, one of the best forwards in the league. And I think George Peros and the rest of the safety committee just kind of screwed this one up. I don't think he deserved to be suspended because PK Subban has done half a dozen slew foots already
got-
this season.
he's got
He
2
submitted the
this
name
week.
change.
He's got
It's
2.
stupid. It's stupid. And he's, in my eyes, he's just as dirty as Marchand used to be.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
no
he's
doubt about
a
that.
weasel for sure. He's a weasel. But, I mean, they had Bruce Boudreau on the hockey show today, and he steeped really high praise. He said that Marchand, along with Alex Ovechkin, are the 2 best left wingers in hockey. I mean, it doesn't get any higher praise than that. And everybody to a man, unless you're Steve Dangle, Toronto Maple Leafs super fan, believes that it was just
Super fan.
Oh my God, I almost had a coronary listen to that podcast, but a game. If you wanted to give him a game, I guess. I think that's a stretch.
I would give him
agree.
a fine.
And here's the other thing too. This is why it's personal, because technically, his I mean, I don't know what you'd call it in NHL parlance. The statute of limitations for his like prior record should have been expunged from 2018.
Exactly. Like there was a certain period of time that had passed where it should have cleaned him.
They just hate his guts. I mean, at this point, I think he should. I think he should pay Dave Portnoy to go down to the NHL offices, chain himself to the front, and do like a hunger strike.
Oh, come on, Merrill. It's not the playoffs yet.
save the good ammo for later.
But
boys,
you know
I'll
what,
tell
though?
you that.
With the type of player Marchand has become and turned himself into, I think he'll do his suspension, and his first game back, he'll have, I bet, 5-6 points. He'll have 2 goals, make 4 assists. Like he will,
and 5 or 6 hits.
He will light kids up.
And he honestly, like, they don't win that game against Vancouver without Marchand. Like, Marchand made OEL his
bitch.
Yes, I mean, if we could say that, his
bitch is a female dog. It's not a swear.
His resident servant. I mean, he literally changed that game with his body play, and they brought it against Nashville. I'm interested to see how they handle the Tampa Bay Lightning and Pat Maroon. So
the big rig.
Big Pat. There it is.
I'm calling it right now. Frederick, and Maroon dropped the gloves tonight. I think it's Saturday night fight.
Dude, they dropped the mitts. I hate to say it, but I'm putting my money on the big rig.
Yeah,
That's
Saturday
right.
night fight.
The big rig is going to speed bag Frederick.
Well,
Good night.
ask. Well, give it a couple. I think Frederick will learn in a couple of years. I think he'll be a heavyweight in the league.
Frederick?
Oh yeah, in a
Troy
couple of years.
Frederick?
Couple of
Yeah.
years. I
In a
said.
couple
I didn't
league-
say now.
In a couple years, I don't see him in the league.
I was gonna say I don't know
Don
if he's unless they
Don
want to make
Sweeney.
him that enforcer guy that they just pull off the bench in case
For a
of
first-round
emergency.
pick.
I don't know.
But they better hope he's more than that. Honestly, they better hope he's.
I hope he is. I want him to be more than that.
He's supposed
He's
to be
not
the
a good hockey
replacement.
player.
Well,
I'm just talking about throwing fists. I'm not. He looked pretty good against Tom Wilson. I'll say that.
Did we ask Doug Smith how he felt about Trent Fredericks fighting and if they had worked together? I don't think we did.
No, I think as Frederick was out, he
No,
got
because
he
Doug
was out with the concussion.
Doug was
Because
probably like, he ain't worth my time.
Clance.
whoa, whoa.
hey, give him a break. He got a suicide
Doing it
pass that
again.
gave him a concussion. I don't know if you saw that. That was
I saw that. That was wild.
that was a suicide pass.
Be quicker.
Clance. Coach Clancy
Hey,
here with
Clance,
us.
Clance has gone from DeBrusque to Anton Bleed, who's actually playing great till he got hurt, and then now he's on to Trent Frederick in the
Yeah,
dugout.
now
Actually, you know what though? It's funny. So every time Clance rags on a guy,
He
they
does
end up playing better.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a
Yeah, keep the trend up.
let me
hat trick for Frederick.
Let me
tonight.
leave it here.
That'd be great.
You're welcome.
Hat trick for Frederick tonight.
Oh
You are
my
so welcome.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
No, but I mean, I don't personally. I don't see Frederick in the league much longer.
Wow. Some.
I just don't.
I think he'll be. I think he'll be a lifetime third, fourth line guy. I think he'll be in the league for like 300 or 400 games. But unless something dramatically changes, like he is who he is. I mean, usually you see a guy come into the league and he pops right away as far as a goal scorer. I mean, even Jake DeBrusque popped. Like you noticed him in his first year. Like,
No doubt.
I mean, and here's the other thing too. I'll say, it's a shame of the Zaboral injuries. He was just starting to play well, and I've said it before, quoting Dennis Potvin, Hall of Fame defenseman. Defensemen take longer, and we just started seeing Zaboral play well. It's a shame.
Have they even come out to say? I know it was a knee, but have they said anything like ACL,
don't-
MCL, PCL?
I haven't seen any real
meniscus?
breaking news as of late. I'll let you know as soon as it comes into my inbox.
It's
like
either.
it.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, and I didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night, but I think it's probably either like it's some sort of ligament or he's fractured his kneecap. Just the way it went into the boards, it didn't look good.
No, not even good.
Oh,
at
I
all.
thought he pulled a hamstring.
pulled it.
You'd be
but
lucky if
yanked
he
it
pulled
right
a
out.
hamstring.
That was
Oh.
a joke.
Oh, goodness. Guys, hey, don't forget we are live here at Brewery 44, making a fool of ourselves. At least
need a beer.
am. He needs another beer. Clancy's going to get another beer ski. Don't forget, if you want to come down and check this place out, highly recommend it. 2 Montello Street here in Carver, Massachusetts. If you want to email them, ask any questions, reserve the lounge, do anything you'd like to do, info@brewery44.com. Mike Johnson, the owner, Jameson Wright, the co-owner, and they're running a fantastic organization here. They got goons like us in here recording Causeway Kings, and that is a beautiful thing. Again, your buddy Benny, Beacon, Clance, and Marshall here on hand with us tonight. Boys, this is fun, huh? We haven't.
This is a blast.
I feel like we're doing the pregame report for real.
I know.
Basically are.
Jack Edwards better watch out. I'm taking his job.
I tell you this, I don't know about that, although I probably do. But I know you have whiter teeth than he does for sure. Jack
Who doesn't? My dog has whiter
Jack,
teeth.
I'm just saying this, bud. I know you make a decent paycheck over at Nesson. Get the teeth whitened, bud. Love you, bud.
I mean, if not, we'll start a GoFundMe page for you, pal.
I said, look at the Wikipedia picture they have up of him. I mean, that get them old, get them whitened.
It looks like he literally has pieces of margarine butter as teeth.
It's funny how a lot of hockey broadcasters have a similar, personality. We got Ben here, kind of like Jack in many ways. Doc Emmerich, another unique personality. I have a story with Doc Emmerich. One time he was in the Bruins press conference during the playoffs a few years ago. We sat down and he started talking about trains for literally 5 straight minutes, just trains. Nobody knew why.
That conversation had to happen after about 3 joints.
About what?
About after 3 joints.
This was a press conference
For
at
Doc
10 in the
Emmerich?
morning.
Because, again, rumor is Jack Edwards loves his marijuana.
Oh, I was talking about Doc Emmerich.
Oh, I was talking about Jack.
Yeah, you were talking about Jack.
Doc probably likes his weed, too.
We all love it.
Who doesn't?
At this point, who doesn't? Hey, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts says it's good to go if you're over the age
Wait,
of
Doc
18.
Emmerich was high? Or was it
No.
Jack
I said
Edwards?
Doc Emmerich was in a press conference that I was in, and he started talking about trains before the press conference started for 5 minutes.
I was going to
It's
say.
either on weed or ecstasy.
So
I don't know. It was 10 in the morning, so that would have been impressive.
I was wake and bake, baby.
Doc is high on
Jeez.
Doc. That's what
I was
it
going to
is, man.
say
He's a living legend.
because that had to have been before the live press conference. I mean,
Oh, it was. He wasn't going to interrupt Bruce Cassidy to start talking about trains, but he was talking with Fluto Shinzawa, myself, and
Hey, you
2 or 3
could you
others.
imagine being
he was
that
just talking
guy?
about trains. Started talking
that's
in the
pretty
open.
cool.
It was great.
Could you imagine being that guy that just cuts off Bruce Cassidy in the middle of a conversation? What he would probably say to you?
Yikes. Good luck.
I feel like Bruce Cassidy has like a little bit of John Tortorella in him,
Oh, he does.
Oh, yeah,
which
he-
is unbelievable.
he just- saves it
He's
for
very
off-camera.
reserved in press conferences, and he'll answer every question the media has, but he's got that streak in him, you can tell. Just look at his eyes.
I think they should bring Tortorella in as an assistant and have him and Cassidy on the bench together.
no, actually,
That would be brilliant.
I actually want to say having Sacco having 3 years experience on the Avalanche bench, I think was huge. Being able to step in for Cassidy, but not only that, but correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he on Claude's staff?
who are we talking about?
Joe Sacco, the
He
interim
was.
coach.
Yeah, he
right
was.
now.
He was originally hired.
A lot of these-
during that.
A lot of the coaches on Cassidy's staff are holdovers, I would say. Cassidy was one himself.
He was.
He was in Providence. Yeah,
He was, but
And-
he was still technically part of their staff.
And then actually, I remember they brought him up that year. Remember, it was kind of controversial, so they brought him back after 2015-16, which was a debacle, the whole Ottawa debacle. The Tuukka Rask chicken wing gate, and then they brought Cassidy up as an assistant that year, and it was kind of like, that's interesting. And then boom, they whacked Claude and replaced him with Bruce Cassidy, and I think it was the right move. But looking at it right now, I mean. So we talked about DeBrus, we talked about Brad Marchand, we talked about Tuukka Rask. Going into this now with this Providence Bruins COVID issue, has there been any update on when they're actually going to be able to practice?
I don't believe there's been an update issued at this point. Of course, up-to-the-minute updates, if you want to find out about that, I'll do it right now for us. BlackNGoldHockey.com. And at the moment, I do not see anything indicating any of those dates. So for the now, what is it, a 3, 4, 5 games?
3 games at least.
3
game
games at
suspension.
least. There it is.
Yeah, hold. So I just see here, Nesson just reported Bruce Cassidy still experiencing mild symptoms, unknown return. That's a shame.
So, yeah.
The only one who's probably not upset with that is Jake DeBrusk.
Probably, yes. And I did find the article now, AHL Bruins. This was written December 1st by Nathan Strauss, a blackandgoldhockey.com writer. And indeed, there it is, all the way down. And the final game, December's 4th road game has been moved to December 15th. So because of this protocol, December 3rd, now April 4th, and December 5th will be January 10th. Providence Bruins home games being rescheduled. And again, it's all posted right there in the article if you're looking for the specific dates. But they do look like they have already rescheduled the majority of this.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
great.
hopefully it doesn't end up being a situation where you have multiple teams having to cancel, because it's just going to cause a big problem too with with the NHL teams having to bring guys up. And then if they can't bring guys up from the AHL, they might have to put in some sort of addendum in the collective bargaining agreement to allow them to bring ECHL players up because, I mean, like we're seeing it now. Like they're struggling to because injuries are going to happen in hockey, obviously, and they're struggling just to field or to ice a team right now. Looking at this right now with Anton Bleed too, the Sacco says he's making progress, but he's still not available tonight. And then Jakob Zaboral, he's going to be re-examined in a few days. It sounds like he's going to be out probably. I mean, I don't know. Who the hell knows? Probably a month.
I'd say longer. I'd say it's at least a month before he's even back on the ice.
I just hope he's not out for the season because he was just starting to play well.
He really was just picking it up finally.
And the biggest thing, like we heard Bob Beers talk today, he was just saying his compete level's better, his angles to the puck are better, closing guys off the boards. Like even the penalty he got, I forget what game it was. Remember he closed off a guy really good along the boards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, that was impressive. Even though it was a penalty, I mean, it shouldn't have been a penalty, I thought. I mean, they called interference. I thought it was nonsense. But just in overall being confident with the puck, it's just a shame. I know Don Sweeney probably doesn't like that because he needs every shred of 2015 draft positiveness that he can get.
Absolutely. Guys, we do have a little bit of news from earlier today as well. I'm seeing this again on blackandgoldhockey.com. Boston Pride have signed Olympic gold medalist Kylie Flanagan. And this article written by Jake Solomons. Again, let's see here. The Pride created this buzz earlier on Thursday, actually, just about, 2 days ago at this point. The signing of Olympic gold medalist Kelly Flanagan. Growing up in nearby Burlington, she is an alumni of BC, and Flanagan will be returning home to help the Pride continue their quest for their third Isabel Cup title. The Boston Pride drafted Flanagan 5th overall in 2018, the same draft class in which teammates Lovisa Solander and Jenna Rial were also selected by Boston. That's an exciting signing here, I'll tell you that, guys. Another Olympic gold medalist to the crew, and the Boston Pride really representing what female hockey can be in 2021.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's great, and that's just going to make that. I mean, they're clearly the best team in the league, and that's just going to make them even better.
No doubt, no doubt. Of course, we're a little lucky in that regards. Thayer Academy and Thayer Rink. What's the official name of it, Clancy? Thayer Sports Center, Ice Center.
The Thayer Sports Center.
Thank you. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Here.
Yes.
Any which
Beautiful
way,
facility, by the way.
it is a beautiful facility. It's only about 3-4 years old at this point, maybe.
Yeah,
if that.
4 or 5.
You go in there, you forget just how many real NHL players have gone through that system.
It's true.
Absolutely.
But a beautiful facility.
Speaking of beautiful facilities, I'm sure most you guys have heard of Level Hockey.
Of course.
Well, they are building a $35 or $40 million facility in Rockland.
Excuse me.
Right on the strip. I just saw it on social media the other day. It's like 3 NHL-size arenas in one building. And
Wow.
it's also,
Where is this, Union Point?
Yes.
Rockland has a strip?
Woo!
Not
That
a
would
strip
make
club,
sense.
just a strip.
But
But he's also building a dormitory, and he's starting the Level Hockey Academy. All these other schools have these academies. Level starting his own.
So technically, the Union Point is that technically
That's the
Weymouth?
military. Well, it's
yeah.
half and half.
Okay, I
would
was
say.
wondering.
it's on the line, but it's the old military base.
Okay.
You can access it from the
I know what
opposite
you're talking
side,
about. Yep.
Abington, Weymouth, and over in Hingham as well.
Yeah.
in
So if
Rockland.
you go on to, the Instagram page, they have the pictures or the drawings of what it's going to look like, and it's going to be unbelievable. And I think one of the arenas, the main arena, is going to hold 3,000 people.
A 3,000 person
Wow,
arena.
really?
Yeah.
Holy
Wow.
smokes!
High school.
I want to say the whole. Well, it's not going to be a high school.
Okay, I was going to say.
It's going to be Level Academy. It's going to have 10 different teams in there. All his youth teams are going to run out of there. I mean, it's going to be kind of scary because a lot of these high school kids are going to these academies, and Level has one of the strongest
Just gonna
names
say that.
in hockey all through the country. I would say he's
Absolutely.
got kids from all over coming to play for him. Having his own arena, having his own facility like this, a dormitory for these kids to live in right next to the arena. I mean, why wouldn't you?
No, I don't believe I was on one of the podcasts you were talking about this, but though I remember you saying that's a big thing for kids to have their own facilities, their own locker rooms, and it's only natural. Like, that's a huge draw.
I'll tell you, when I was graduating Weymouth High and I was getting recruited by prep schools to do a PG year, I'll put them. I was like, listen, do you guys have your own rink? Do you have your own locker room? And they're like, well, some schools like, no, not really. I was like, well, I mean, that's what I want, something like that. I want a place to call home. I don't want to be going back to my dorm room and putting my hockey bag in there. You
ever tried living in a dorm room with a hockey bag?
I did. In college, we didn't even have our own locker room in Framingham State. I lived in a 8-person hockey suite, and we all kept our bags in there. It was absolutely disgusting.
That must have smelled. That must have been marinated quite nicely.
The babes loved it.
I bet they did. Good for you, Clancy.
Yeah, if you get a chance, go on Instagram. It's on a couple different sites. It's on their page itself, the Advantage Hockey page, and then it's on like the Neutral Zone Prep page and a couple other places. It's the pictures alone are just insane. I think the ring, one of the rinks, gonna have like a restaurant in it and stuff like that. It's gonna be amazing.
Is it similar to that New England Sports Village down in Attleboro, or is it gonna be even bigger than that?
It's gonna be 10 times better than that. Bigger.
Oh wow, really?
This is gonna be 3 rinks. That one's only 2.
Wow. Well, good for me. I live right across the way from that, so it looks like I'll be hitting the ice pretty often. Good.
There you go. Or we'll be broadcasting from there. maybe.
We'll see.
Cool. Let's see if high school teams get involved.
Well, I mean, so also, obviously there's been the Braintree hockey rink saga that's been going on since before I was born.
Right,
I guess the company that built the Thayer rink put in a bid to build the Braintree rink, and I think they won the bid. Mainly because I think they were the only ones that put the bid in. But still, that's a huge development for Braintree High because, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to coach there. I think, we have one of the better public school programs in the state of Mass. Tonight they got a scrimmage against Duxbury High, rocking the brand new Vibero Braintree jerseys. Look absolutely sick out there.
Whoop, whoop.
Shout out Vibero and Andy Sutton. And we develop a lot of kids go on and play Division III college. They go play juniors. We have a couple that are at Norwich, some at Connecticut College. So having a facility like that for a public school program is huge because there are kids that live in this town that has never stepped foot at Braintree High School because they're at a Thayer Academy or a Nobles or a Belmont Hill or something like that. This could generate kids to stay at Braintree High, save their parents $40,000, $50,000 a year, if not more,
at least,
and still get the same exposure and the same amenities that you get at a prep school.
At least stay for a year or two before, you know what I mean? Like they stay for an extra year
or so.
I
mean, a lot of kids will do, if you're a top-notch player at a public high school, and BCon, you could probably attest this covering some of the schools, they'll do 2, maybe 3 years, and transfer to a prep school, but then repeat. So they'll do their junior year at like a Braintree or Weymouth High, transfer to like a Tabor or a Hebron or a Kents Hill, and repeat as a junior.
I think Charlie Coyle did that. He was at Weymouth, right?
Yes.
He went.
Yeah,
he played 1 year in Weymouth.
And they went to the Super 8.
Dominated.
He went to the Super 8.
I have a buddy.
Then they immediately scooped him.
Brian Bigelow, shout out to him. He played on his line as a freshman, and he was Coyle was crapping on guys left and right.
Yeah, the kid's unbelievable. I'm actually very good friends with Charlie's cousin, Trevor King. Shout out to Trevor, great kid, great hockey player. His brother, Timmy, was a captain at St. Anselm's. But yeah, Charlie's an unbelievable player, unbelievable kid. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great thing if this happens with the Braintree rink. And again, there's a lot of talent in the town of Braintree. We had 90 kids try out this year for a public high school.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Are you serious?
And but believe it or not, guys, that's
90?
like 90 kids, but that's our lowest number in the last 4 years. Last year we had 104.
Wow.
Yeah, we have Braintree does a great job with their youth programs. They Learn to Skate. Shout out to my brother-in-law, Mike Larkin, who's the director of Learn to Skate. So I guess all these, they came for all this talent that's coming up. He teaches them how to skate,
Seriously,
and they don't even have their own rink in town.
No, I mean, right now we play at the wonderful facility of the Saputis Arena in Randolph, Massachusetts.
Hey, the nice AM Vets behind there has good pizza.
They have the best bar pizza next to Linwood. They are the best bar pizza.
Best place to get pizza ever. Linwood.
But I think if it happens, I think it's going to be great. They deserve it. Again, I'm very fortunate enough to coach at Braintree High. We have a great team. I missed the scrimmage tonight to come down here with the Causeway crew, so shout out to Braintree High. Hopefully they're kicking the shit out of Duxbury.
Is Matza coaching that team?
No, his son's not there anymore. He transferred to Thayer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's third line at Thayer.
Did this just happen?
This year he transferred.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Impressive.
How's
Sorry,
Dave Fasano's? Is it Nick Fasano? That's
Nick,
the youngest one coming up?
Yeah, he's a junior this year. Nick is a very good hockey player.
Oh, I know. I was there for his first game of his varsity career last year, and he scored a hat trick.
So so Nick's freshman year 2 years ago, my JV team, that freshman class, we were an absolute powerhouse. We went 20-0-1. We scored 113 goals, let up 9, had 13 shutouts. And every shift, every game, Nick Fasano just gets better and better. And I think this year alone, Nick is going to be one of the better players in the Bay State League in Massachusetts for public school hockey. And I could see him starting to draw some talent from some top prep schools and colleges as well.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. He looked incredible in just one game I saw last year. So I think the future's going to be bright there, and you guys will have a good program going forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, that junior class there's so many kids. There's Nick Fasano, there's Charlie DiMartino, there's Kyle Hutchinson, there's even like the senior class, a couple of the leaders they got. This kid Nolan Leonard, who is just an absolute stud at Braintree High. I think he's a senior this year. Or no, he's a junior. I'm sorry, he's a junior this year. They got a lot of firepower. They got a great goalie up there. He's a big kid too. He's a junior. Jack Fitzgerald. I think he's like 6'4", and he can move. He takes up a lot of net. So Braintree High is gonna be a team to watch out for this year, definitely.
Oh, we're all looking forward to the high school hockey season. I know that Beacon and I have been covering it closely for the last, what has it been, 5, 6, 7 years now, Beacon? Jeez.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a
before
while.
times, before COVID.
In the way back before times, in our ancestor days.
Yeah, it's been a
BC.
good few years now.
Yeah, right. But you know what? It's all good. And Clancy, when is the schedule starting up? I mean, obviously scrimmage tonight, but when are quarterfinals and all
the
that?
varsity has a scrimmage tonight against Duxbury, and then tomorrow they head out to Marlborough to play in like a
at the New England Sports Center.
Yeah, at a jamboree, which I think they're playing. They're playing Arlington Catholic and I think Arlington.
Ooh, that'll be a tough match.
And their regular season I think kicks off not this upcoming week, but the week after. My JV team kicks off December 15th. So yeah, hopefully, again, everyone knows this whole COVID thing could screw everything up overnight.
I hope not.
But
I did have another question for you too. I saw this in Beacon. You might be able to speak on this too. Are players being required to go back to wearing masks?
Yes, they
on
are.
ice?
Yes, they are.
So the MIAA
At least to start.
is requiring all players and coaches to wear masks inside the rinks, on the ice, on the bench. They are supposedly going to reevaluate everything at the beginning of January, which hopefully, they make a change. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't think the kids deserve to have to go through this.
But did you just also say
not.
hopefully and MIAA in the same sentence?
I did, which, I mean, the Bears kicking in.
Good.
Yeah,
clearly.
All right, let's be careful here.
Because of
But at the same-
water here.
But at the same time,
all
all
good.
these kids play all fall on these split-season teams, and then they don't have to wear a mask. They're playing in the same rinks that their high school teams are playing in. They don't have to wear a mask. There's no difference. These kids are not going to stop hanging out with their friends outside of school, not wearing a mask.
Honestly, and I don't mean to make this any kind of controversy, but enough is enough. And I mean, kids, under 18 or 18 and under, they have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than dying of COVID. They have a worse chance of dying from the flu than dying from COVID. So, and we're talking about, these are athletes, hockey players, and in general who are highly conditioned athletes. So, we're not talking about, kids who aren't active. These are kids who are finely conditioned young athletes. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. Like, what are we doing?
In all honesty, and on a positive note, like, the kids don't complain about it because all the kids want to do is play hockey. They're willing to do it. They're willing to to wear them, and if they can play, because if they have wear masks so they can play, then they're going to do it because all they want to do is play hockey. And that's in the end, that's all that matters.
There should be an asterisk on the seasons with the masks, though, only to prove not that there was something wrong, but that the kids clearly earned it even that much harder. Because let's be honest, there are adults out there complaining that, a mask, I can't breathe. You're not even playing sports. You're just asking to go to a store. So I give the kids all the credit in the universe for that. It is
Absolutely.
not easy. I know Bauer came out with those special masks inside of the
But
cages,
at the same time,
but
I
it's
don't
still a mask.
I don't think they're getting approved to be worn this year.
Really?
Bauer
Even though
and
they were
CCM
approved last year.
Last year, they had those ones that were attached.
Yep.
They Velcro to the masks.
Yeah.
I mean, to the cages and stuff. I'm pretty sure they're not allowed to. And the neck gaiters. They're not allowed to wear those this year
So
either.
what the heck are people supposed to do?
They
what do you wear?
They go out and they have to get like the
surgical mask?
Yeah, exactly. Those or like the cloth one or whatever. But
Ugh.
from what I've heard, the ones that attach to the cages, that Velcro to the cages, they cannot be worn.
Unbelievable.
The MIA continually doing the wrong thing since 1990, whatever. Put it on a T-shirt.
Let's be careful there. They are good people, some of them down there.
Says who?
In other words, they give Beacon.
Sorry,
and I
Beacon. I'm
good-
sorry. I'm
good
sorry. You know what?
access
You
to
know what though?
games.
Here's the
Yes,
thing. Like,
without the MIAA, we can't broadcast our games.
all right. So in defense, I understand Beacon. I know you got to keep the lines.
We got to
open,
keep the
but
peace somewhere, Merrill.
They feed us information too. That's why I defend them to a point.
So don't
As much
Hey,
as sometimes
what
they
a
do
hit.
screw up, but
I
most of the time
understand.
I do get their intentions, their good intentions. Sometimes they just
I understand.
have a unique route of getting there.
No, I understand. You got to keep all the lifelines open, and I understand how it works. And it's not easy being a journalist, writing on deadlines, and you have a game getting over with only an hour to put something together. I understand.
Try last night with like 15 minutes when the game ended at 10:30.
Yeah, I know.
So-
I hear you.
Guys, one thing I wanted to bring up, switching gears from high school hockey back to the NHL, Jack Eichel is back on the ice.
Woo! Never
There-
thought I'd see the day.
There was a video surface of him the other day of just skating around on his own at the rink. I'm assuming he was in Vegas. And then, again, I don't know if it's true, but I did see something online that they're saying he could be joining the Vegas Knights in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
That would be amazing if he did. I mean, and what would that speak of that surgery that he had too?
I got 3 herniated discs. I might go get it.
Honestly,
Well,
I got
honestly,
4. I'm right there with you, buddy.
According to some people that on separate podcasts I was hearing, that's actually not completely out of the realm of possibility for that surgery. What they estimated, I know nobody who's been like a high-level athlete has ever had that surgery, but they were saying if everything goes according to Hoyle, that's what they were saying, that maybe he could be, when did he have the surgery? Like 7-8 weeks ago?
No.
Not even.
Like
Not
two,
even?
Like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
2 3
Literally,
weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago. Well, there's another player.
I thought he had it.
I forget who it was.
Oh,
It
you
might
know
have
what?
been
He
me.
only got traded recently, so
Yeah.
my
So
bad.
there actually was, a couple episodes ago on Spit and Chicklets, they actually interviewed Jack Eichel probably like a couple days after he got traded. And he was talking about the surgery and all that, and he spoke to an MMA fighter who's had like over 30 surgeries in his body who had this exact same surgery and said that his body never felt better after having the surgery. And he was still able to fight after that.
Wow. I mean,
That was what I was going to say, yeah.
seeing Eichel take those strides, I mean, it didn't look like he was doing a whole lot of spine struggling. I mean, the upper body stayed upright. He was just gliding right along in the clip that we all saw. But
Which is, I mean,
It's encouraging.
It's a great thing for hockey to see him back out there.
no doubt,
It just
no
makes
doubt.
Vegas that much scarier.
Yeah, seriously, right?
I mean, and hopefully, he's able to return to full strength, and once he takes that first hit along the boards and everything, he feels fine. That's going to be the true test. Like anybody who's ever had any serious surgery,
It
that's
always
one
takes
thing.
that first hit to
Yep.
get your confidence back in
That's
there.
right,
Exactly.
boys. That's right. Again, we are coming to you live from Brewery 44 here in Carver, Massachusetts. 2 Montello Street. If you want to come down and check it out sometime for yourself, highly recommend it. Nice brewery, good beers, and we're here. So what does that tell you?
We're good people.
Yeah, this is a good place for
And the
good
bees
people.
just came on.
Nice. Well, there you go. There's the horn, really. We were going to take it right up to the Bees game, and we're just about time anyway, guys, so I think this is a good spot. Let's take our final thoughts, go around the horn here, and we'll segue into the Bruins game, which just got underway a few minutes ago. And, Beacon, let's start with you, buddy. Again, recapping real quick. High school Super Bowl, upcoming high school, Bruins, NHL. You need to take your pick, buddy.
Well, I'm going to stick with the NHL here because I think we are about 1 month away from Tuukka Rask returning here. I think it's a fait accompli after Don Sweeney's press conference this week. Get ready, Boston. He's coming back.
Hot take. Clance?
I agree with Beacon. I think he's going to be back between the pipes before we know it. Excited, high school hockey's finally started up. Long week of tryouts. Feet are struggling right now, but it was well worth it. I got a great squad this year for the JV team, and looking to the next couple episodes here, and doing some more live events like this. This has been great.
Right, it's good times. Merrill, last man up.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank Brewery 44 for allowing us to come and set up. This is the pilot before we maybe go with the sitcom here. But it's going to be interesting. A lot going on with the Bruins. Everything is fluid with injuries and COVID situations, and Tuukka Rask coming back, and how they've they got to trade Jake DeBrusk, and they've bollocksed the goaltending position to this point. And a bit of I'll leave this a bit on a positive note here. I know the Red Wings are 3 points ahead of the Bruins, but the Bruins have 4 games in hand, and they're 1 point out of the playoff or a wild card overall with Pittsburgh. So I think if everybody could stay healthy, I think the Bruins will be all right. But I think it's going to come down to what they get for DeBrusk and overall their goaltending situation. So it's going to be a very eventful next few months for sure.
Yeah, guys, before we sign off, one thing I wanted to mention. So, we've mentioned before the passing of Jimmy Hayes. Recently, his wife has partnered with a jewelry company called StarsStruckStacked.com. Again, that's StarsStruckStacked.com. And they've made bracelets for, to remember Jimmy. One of the things that they've always said after when I believe his brother Kevin said it during the eulogy was, be like Jimmy. Because Jimmy was a kind-hearted, loving man, amazing father, amazing husband, great hockey player, just an all-around great guy. So they're making these bracelets to, for proceeds, and 100% of the proceeds will go to Jimmy's fund called the 11 Fund. So, again, it's called StarsStruckStacked.com. So, right now I just checked, they're actually all sold out, which I'm not surprised. But as soon as they come available, I will be purchasing one. And again, it's short money, but it's going to a great cause to help a great human being.
And what was that one more time, just so we can make sure we really drive that home for folks?
It's www.stars, S-T-A-R-S, truck, T-R-U-C-K, stacked, S-T-A-C-K-E-D.com.
Well, this, of course, will be written down because that is indeed a mouthful. Clance, good on you.
After about another 3 beers, I would have sounded like...
Pretty soon it'll be a sobriety test in another few hours. Holy
Seriously.
smokes.
But, again, it's a great cause. Just if you can, you don't have to wear it. Just purchase it because the funds are going to a great cause to help, underprivileged children go to college in the amazing city of Dorchester.
Absolutely.
And it's a great way to honor Jimmy Hayes. And anybody who knew him, they don't have a bad word to say about him because he was an absolutely salt-of-the-earth great guy. So God bless him.
Dorchester youth hockey will be a legend in those rafters forever and ever. On that note, boys, I want to say thank you once again to Brewery 44, everybody that came out to support us, which surprisingly a good number of folks came out here live. This is pretty cool.
Nice to see about 15 to 20 people here.
Merrill's got his own posse.
He really does. The Merrill fan club is a
Listen,
lot bigger
I got
than
an
I thought.
entourage here, and
Hold
let me
on.
tell you, it's only the start of it.
I have to ask, though, again, I have to ask. Was that your wife wearing a Bruins jersey with Marshall on the back?
It is.
You have your own Bruins jersey?
I have one too.
I do have my own Bruins jersey. Hey, let me tell you something. That number 70 represented a lot better than Malcolm Subban did. Say that. Better save percentage.
Well, when
your career's gone to shit when you got traded to Buffalo.
Well,
Out of already a shitty organization.
it is what it is.
oh yeah, Blackhawks and the Sabres.
Yeah, right.
Talk about 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Hang
Holy
him
smokes.
up, pal. Hang
Bob's
'em
your
up.
uncle. Folks, for Causeway Kings, your buddy Benny, for Beacon, for Marshall, Causeway, Clancy, and everybody else listening here at Causeway, and Brian Johnston. Don't forget our buddy Brian. He's feeling better soon,
BJ.
hopefully.
We love you, BJ.
Shout out, Prost and Toast, one around. Folks, thank you so much for listening. You have been listening to Causeway Kings on the Black and Gold Podcast Network. More at blackandgoldhockey.com. As always, it's 13:20 left in the first period. No score, Bruins and the Lightning. Let's go, Bees. Have a good night, everybody.
Woo!